When Eli Granger rode into the auction yard that blistering afternoon, he expected nothing more than worn-out tools, a few half-starved horses, and whatever scraps desperate settlers were willing to part with. But instead, he found the crowd pressed into a tight, murmuring ring, whispers coiling like dust devils as two towering Apache women stood chained at the center platform. Their proud faces hard as carved stone, their braided raven hair swaying in the hot wind. And though the auctioneer barked nonsense about them being dangerous captives, Eli saw something entirely different: strength, dignity, and a fierce fire in their eyes that refused to dim. When the bidding began, no man dared raise a hand except a few drunken fools, and even they hesitated. So when the auctioneer yelled, "Going once, going twice," Eli stepped forward with a calm, steady voice and said, "I'll take them," offering a price so low it made the crowd gasp. Because to him, it wasn't a purchase, it was a rescue from a fate far uglier than any prison. The chains were removed, and the women, taller than any men around, looked down at him not with fear, but with stunned disbelief. They were broad-shouldered and silent like a mountain, and Sani, sharp-eyed and quick like a hawk, and Eli spoke softly, telling them he meant no harm, only that they were free to ride with him until they chose where to go. They exchanged a glance, then nodded with the solemn grace of warriors. The ride back to Eli's ranch was quiet, except for the creak of leather and the rustle of prairie grass, but he could feel their presence behind him like a shield, powerful and alert, scanning every shadow for danger. When they reached his rancha, lonely spread stretched beneath the rolling orange glow of sunset, he offered them his barn loft to sleep, but the sisters refused, stepping closer with an unshakable firmness. "We do not hide in dark corners," Alika said, her deep voice vibrating like thunder across the wooden porch. "We sleep where the fire is, where the heart of the home is," Sani added. "In our tribe, warriors share warmth. It is how trust grows." Eli blinked, unsure how to respond, for their meaning wasn't what the gossiping townfolk might assume. It was a cultural bond, a ritual of protection, a way of saying, "We guard you because you guarded us." The sisters had been torn from their people by raiders, treated like trophies, and Eli's act of buying their freedom made them feel bound by honor to watch over him as he had watched over them. That night, when they stepped into his simple cabin ducking through the doorway because of their height, Eli felt the strangest sense of safety wash over him, as though two immovable mountains had taken their place at his side. The fire crackled, shadows danced, and the wind moaned at the windows, but inside, the air was steady, calm, almost sacred. The women laid their bedrolls near his, not touching, not crowding, but close enough that Eli felt their presence like a silent promise. They spoke about their lost homeland, their people, their dreams of returning. And Eli listened with a heart heavier than the anvil in his shed. They asked him about his life, too, why a young, honest rancher lived alone, why his home felt filled with sadness, despite being so carefully kept. Eli admitted that loneliness was a deeper enemy than drought or wolves, and that sometimes he wondered if he was meant to spend his life in silence. The sisters exchanged another glance. Then Sani rested a hand on his shoulder. The first physical gesture of Trustan said, "Loneliness ends when paths join. Tonight, we keep watch. Tonight, you do not sleep alone." Their words, spoken with warrior sincerity, struck him deeper than any flirtation ever could. There was no seduction, no shame, no misunderstanding, only the pure, powerful vow of companionship born from shared hardship. As the fire dimmed and the prairie night wrapped around the cabin, Eli felt something new settle inside him, a sense of belonging, of being seen, of being worth standing beside. And as the sisters closed their eyes beside him, giant, proud, unbroken Eli, Granger realized he had not just offered them freedom, they had offered him something just as rare: a family, a future, a reason to rise with the dawn and fight for something bigger than himself. Little did he know, the world outside his ranch was already stirring, rumors beginning to spread, men preparing trouble, and destiny shifting like a storm on the horizon for this unlikely bond forged in fire and trust. It was only the beginning of a story that would shake the entire West. And if you want to hear what happens next, how loyalty, danger, love, and courage collide in ways no one saw coming, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next chapter of this unforgettable adventure.